Good morning. Today I have chosen colors to perfectly blend in this environment. So this hat was knitted by my mother. I think I never wore it, but I thought it fits great to this jacket and to this place. So when we were children, me and my brothers and me, we always had to wear the same clothes. So if we would go shopping, which I hated, we always were looking for 4 pairs of shoes in different sizes so that everyone would get the same shoes. And the same with t-shirts and trousers, and I really hated it because it just broke my own will in some way, because I might want the Mickey Mouse shirt, and what I got was the shirt with the elephant. So from an early age on, I learned not to trust my own intuition and my own will. So no wonder that I ended up where I ended up. So, but I try to unravel this. I'm not sure if it's ever possible, but we will find out. And I still get stuff from my mom, like this hat, for example, and sometimes I just never wear it. But also you don't want to make her upset, so I might wear it when she's with me, but only once or so. So today is Sunday again, so it means I have finished one whole week of videos, which is really cool and kind of incredible for me that I could be so consistent with that. I think I already made progress. So if you compare maybe the last video with the first video, you would see I wouldn't say I know what I'm doing, but I feel more confident not knowing what I'm doing. That's, I think, a good description. And yeah, I'm happy with the videos so far. So I will keep going, and as I said in other videos, I really like the fact that someone is holding me accountable, that I have to come out and do this. Because this morning I really didn't want to get out of bed. And I did not do the piano practice, and I did not do the writing before I came here. But due to the fact that you hold me accountable, I had to come out to do this. So I'm happy that I did, and when it's Sunday I can do the piano practice later if I want to. So I want to call this video Shadow Work on Steroids, because that's the term that Fabian uses, and I think it's a perfect description to what I'm doing here. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the term shadow work. I think it's a term introduced by Jung, and it's basically, there are so many parts of ourselves that we don't want to see and we don't want others to see, so we just hide them very deep inside, and that's basically the shadow that's always with us and that's controlling us, because it's just in our subconscious mind. We don't really know it's there, but it's there, and it's it's controlling every action, every thought, and every emotion. And as long as we are not aware of all that stuff that's there, we don't really know what we are doing. So it's good to bring this all up. It's the process of months, years, maybe decades. I'm not sure if you will ever bring everything up, but once you know yourself and you know all what you carry with you, you're also able to let it go, and you're able to be free and let go of all that's what's heavy and what's dragging you down and holding you back. And I think that's what we all are going for. We want to be free and be ourselves and be authentic. I think it's a worthwhile goal, even though it's a lifelong goal and it's really hard to attain, but progress is happiness. Yeah, and so just by telling my story, I go through a lot of stuff that I did not touch for years, and also by telling you some things that I don't like about me, that I would hide normally from the world. I promise there is more to come. Yeah, so just by sharing that, it's already part of accepting it and letting go. And also about talking about fears. It's really hard to admit fears, even to admit it to yourself, but to tell others is even harder, and I think it's even more effective in this cleansing process. So that's why it's shadow work on steroids, because you just make the process much more intense by getting others on board and sharing your story with the world, and sharing your secrets or your dark secrets, and just bringing them up and bringing them to the light, so that the shadow is not a shadow anymore. So you just include the shadow in your whole being, and you know it's there and you can handle it, and you just integrate it into your whole being, and it's way easier to handle things that you know and that are visible, instead of handling things that are in the dark and hidden, and you don't want to look there, you don't want to feel there. So I told you yesterday that I had an appointment, and I didn't want to tell exactly what it is. I'm a bit confused afterwards. I would be able to fill a whole week with just this topic, but I will just briefly get into it so that you can understand it. I hope you understand. But don't think I'm weird, because it's a little bit controversial, I would say, this topic. But you will think I'm weird anyway, because I'm plunging in that river every morning, so in the middle of November. So I don't know if you ever heard the name Wilhelm Reich. So he was a student of Sigmund Freud, and so he's coming from the psychoanalysis side, but I think I compare him a little bit to Da Vinci, because he was also interested in a lot of different fields. So he went from psychology to biology, and he basically invented the body therapy, so that you work on the body to heal the mind. And he went to cloud busting. I don't know if you know the song from Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. That's about Wilhelm Reich actually. And he invented boxes that he calls organ accumulator, where you can sit in, and then the life energy is accumulated in these boxes, and then you get well, and you can cure cancer with that. He proved it. But he also went on to chase UFOs, and he made it rain in the desert with his cloud busting machines, and also he made experiments with radioactive material. So he has worked in a lot of different fields, and that's why a lot of people call him crazy. Maybe he was in his later years, I don't know, but he was rejected by science in every field he worked on, but his findings were really astonishing. So I read a lot of his books maybe 3, 5, 4 years ago, and I just fell in love with the way, with the passion. You can feel the passion he has for the topics he works on, and he really wants to free mankind of the chains we put on ourselves. And I think that was the reason why I got into him. So I was going on the internet and looking for, I have so much tension in my back, how can I heal it? And I always stumbled about his name. And then I looked on Wikipedia and said, oh, he's a quack. So I just ignored him for a while. But he kept on popping up. So I picked up a book from him, and I started reading, and I was intrigued. So I really love the style he writes. I really can relate to the topics and what he says in his books. So sometimes when I read the books, I started crying, because it was just describing, for example, love and also sex. The way he described it, it really clicked with me. So I think it was really beautiful. And some things, I don't support everything that he says, but I think it's worth reading. So I don't want to recommend a certain book, because he wrote a lot of books, and I'm not sure what you're interested in, but you might find an interesting book, definitely. So yesterday, so since moving here, I found out that the guy who's building these organ accumulators, these boxes where you can sit in and get the energy. So Wilhelm Reich was always about life energy, and I think so he's saying the most substantial basic energy is just the sexual energy that we are made of, that everything is made of. So, and I think that's kind of logic, and also it's the same energy that's everywhere in the universe, and yeah, it's just energy. So he's talking a lot about this organ energy, and you can accumulate this in this organ accumulators. So, and I found a guy that's living close by that is building these organ accumulators, and he devoted basically, I say basically again, devoted his whole life to Wilhelm Reich. And I thought it would be cool to connect with him and just to have a chat. So I ended up being there for 4 hours, also sitting in one of the organ accumulators for 30 minutes. And it was really interesting, but also confusing to say the least, because Wilhelm Reich, he developed a therapy where he worked on the body to heal the mind, as I said before. And Wilhelm Reich himself, he was a little bit disillusionated, that's the right word, in his later years, because mankind is just too sick to heal, because they just want to stick to their fears and to their constrictions, because they are too afraid to start the new life, to leave stuff behind, and to really feel the emotions that you would feel when you are a free human being. And yeah, it's frightening. These feelings are intense when you really feel and are not restricted as everybody is. So I'm not sure if I can really talk about, because I feel restricted in many areas still. And yeah, so basically I wanted to go and have this kind of therapy, because I don't like psychotherapy or talk therapy. I'm not sure if that's something for me. So I'm always more about this body stuff. So I was an athlete, so I get massages a lot, and I like to work with my body. So I thought it would be great to have this kind of therapy. But this guy I was talking to, he said, well, Wilhelm Reich in his later years, he was so frustrated because mankind just is too sick to heal. So he basically said the therapy is useless, and stopped doing therapy. And this kind of really annoys me, because it kind of takes away this solution to healing for me. I'm not sure if that really makes sense for you, but so Wilhelm Reich devoted, I would say maybe 15 years of his life to this therapy, but in his later years he turned to other stuff, like chasing UFOs, and I like this Wilhelm Reich when he was doing this therapy stuff. But the thing that he found out for himself, that it's useless, I'm not sure what I should do now, because I really wanted to do this therapy, but I'm repeating myself. What's also interesting about him is that his books were burned by the Nazis, but also in the US. So he went to the US afterwards, and there his books were burned too. He ended up in prison. He died in prison because his ideas were probably not liked by the mainstream. So I think that's what makes him interesting too, because if someone is chased by the establishment, there's probably something that he's telling that they don't want to be told. I'm a little bit upset that I did not do my 20 minutes of writing this morning, because I wanted to write about this whole Wilhelm Reich thing that I'm struggling with right now. And the funny thing is, it's really hard to find the therapist who's doing this kind of therapy. And this guy I was talking to yesterday, he said the therapists are the worst people you can basically talk to, because they think they can do it, but no one can really do it, because, as Wilhelm Reich said himself, the therapy is basically useless, and you can't do anything. So you only would harm yourself if you would go to a therapist doing this kind of therapy. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. Probably you are more confused now than before too, because the story was a little bit all over the place, but it's filling my head, so I had to talk about it. Yeah, okay. I think I will leave it with it for today, and see you tomorrow. Bye.